Today is April 30th, 2019. That is my man, Kucukovic. I am Boyal, and we are in the mix. And last night, we had a thriller game, at the ending at least. I mean, the start was a colossal failure. The Philadelphia 76ers toppled the hometown Toronto Raptors 94-89 to tie up the series 1-1 and take home court away from the Toronto Raptors. And heading back to Philly, now a 2-day break. Joel Embiid who's looked sluggish, has now got terrible, but he's now got 2 days to get healthy.
What's wrong with him?
He's got tendonitis in his left knee. That's why he's been garbage and hasn't been able to move.
He's been injured since he came to the NBA.
Facts.
This guy, 2 days ain't gonna do nothing for him.
No, but when it comes to the playoffs and it goes from being 60% to 80%, it's a big difference, and especially the way that he's been playing and he hasn't been able to affect the ball offensively.
On him again. He's coming back to the same matchup.
Do you want to get into Gasol right away?
I do.
Okay. Do you know what he did last night?
Okay, don't give me no offensive numbers.
Okay, let's go defensively.
Okay, go.
I know you didn't watch the whole game.
No.
You saw
the Raptors game in an hour.
Right? You had to work. I'll let it slide. The man was making that moolah.
That's true.
Okay?
Shouts to Sportsnet, though. That's a sick-ass hour.
I like it. Leafs in an hour. Blue Jays in 30. Raps in an hour. Fantastic show.
Blue Jays in 30.
Well, baseball. You don't need to see everything, you know?
That's true. Fair enough.
But Gasol, what I noticed, okay, Joel Embiid, I don't care what you do on Embiid when he's driving in because he's got left tendonitis, has looked sluggish, looked weak. Yeah. He was actually also sick, had stomach issues, and was yakking. And after the game said, I was really sick.
How many excuses can you pull out of a bag, bro? You just shit.
Okay, I'm saying he did a decent job on Embiid. But the problem with me, Gasol defensively, was when other guys were getting involved where he had to spread out his defensive coverage. This comes to, I don't know if it's Gasol's decision or it's Nick Nurse, the game plan. On every screen, Gasol was switching onto the smaller guy and getting burned and beat every single time. Now, whether that's Gasol and whoever he's switching with, saying switch and making a bad call, or if that's the coaching game plan, it was deficient. It allowed all their small guys to get by Gasol and have speed going downhill and get to the hoop. And then once they get by that the switch on Gasol, now when they're getting to the hoop, the guy covering the corner shot has got to come in and help. Now you're kicking it out. Now everybody's scrambling, and it's all because that's happening all game because of Gasol. And we talked about this with, and I was talking about it with a couple buddies the other day. The reason why Giannis was defended so well against Boston is they didn't let him get any speed going downhill.
Against Boston.
Giannis, Milwaukee. I'm going off track for a little bit.
Oh, Giannis. I thought you were saying Giannis
Antetokounmpo.
Oh, okay.
Against guys who are going to the rack, you got to D them up as quick as you can, get inside them to stop them from getting the speed downhill. And what happened on that last big bucket Embiid scored with, a little less than a minute left?
Yeah.
He gave him 10 feet of space to come at him. Gasol cannot handle Joel Embiid when Joel Embiid is running full speed at him. He's going right by him every single time.
He's done it all game. That was his second basket all game. Of 7 shots?
And then the one time the only other time he didn't step out on him, Embiid banged that 3 in his mouth.
Wait, are you sure about
I might be thinking about last game, but
I was gonna say
throughout 2 games,
Embiid was
and I said it
3.
And I said it to you early on.
From the 3-point line.
It's going to be a problem when Gasol doesn't step outside to cover Embiid.
No, it's not.
It has been a problem. You didn't watch the game properly.
He was 0 for 3 last night.
I'm not talking about the shooting. I'm talking about what happens when you give him that space on the outside. The biggest bucket of the game was allowed because Gasol left him too much space, and it created havoc.
Okay.
And you can't deny it. And I don't know if that's Gasol's decisions or it goes back to the game plan, and they decided, hey, let's make them volume shooters, and that's all cool. But you got to recognize your defender on your team's foot speed and strengths, all right? He cannot do anything with any player in the league, but he's way faster than Marc Gasol, who cannot even move. He did on that one biggest play last night.
That one play.
And that's all he needed.
All he needed?
To win the game.
Bro, his team, through the skin of their teeth, won that game yesterday. What happened when they
won the game because the Raptors handed it to them.
Game. You know, I actually have a quote here from Jack Armstrong. He said it's not
TSN.
Yeah. It's not that Raptors are playing bad, and it's not that Sixers are playing better. It's just Raptors are stuck in the mud.
They're stuck in the mud one game. So
it wasn't going for them. Everything they would do it wasn't going for them.
So I'm gonna go.
They would get beautiful open shots, wouldn't drop it.
I don't have the exact quote from Marc Gasol, but I'll paraphrase what he said post game. and which I agreed with. Brett Brown made some adjustments coming into this game in terms of defensive matchups and looks they wanted to get and game plan. Okay, but in the first quarter, the Raptors were still able to go out there, execute, and get the same looks that they do every single night throughout 82 games and 6 in the playoffs. Just couldn't hit their open shots. So as Gasol said, if we hit those shots, now Philly's squandering, they're scrambling, and they're going to go make some other adjustments because they have no answer. So uncharacteristically, everybody was shooting poor. Danny Green was 1 for 8 on the night, 1 for 6 from behind the arc, and missed 3 big 3-pointers in the fourth, 1 to tie the game where he was wide open, and he kind of rushed it. He had the time, but it's a scramble play.
He rushes a lot of his 3-pointers. I don't know. But maybe it's just his release is quick.
I think that it's kind of his rhythm. But I like him to slow down a little more. Where Kyle Lowry's the opposite. Before Kyle hit those 2 big back-to-back threes in the fourth, he had a couple shots where he took too long to look around. Kyle's a guy where he's a sharpshooter. You just got to get on that ball, and he's got to not think and pull it up. And when he did those 2 shots, it was nothing but mesh, and he looked like a killer. And it got us back into the swing of things.
But he was also wide open on those 2 shots.
The first one. The second one was slightly contested. But again, there's 2 others during that game that were wide open, and he clanked. Right? Everybody's got to find the motion.
That's what I mean. Like, I didn't feel like they were playing bad. I feel like it wasn't their night. It just wasn't going down for them.
The biggest thing that tells me that the Raptors lost the game, not so much that Philly won it, is we came back when we were down 19 points. And then even if you look at the final score, right? In a league where in today's world, per game, each team averages over 100 points, they were able to hold Philly to 94. Okay? And their field goal percentage, Philly's for the night, 40%. Below average, not too shabby. 3-point percentage, 29. Nothing spectacular in either of those. The problem is, so the defense was efficient, Raptors. Problem is, when you shoot 36% from the field and 27 from the 3-point line, doesn't matter how good your defense is, you're going to lose that game 97% of the time. Then we can get into the problems with the bench unit, because every time those starters came off, even if it was just one starter going off and those bench guys came in, they were crossing up all the rhythms. That's
the only way I felt the Phillies actually smart. Every time the bench would come on, you just see the starters. They're lining up at the
Brett Brown outcoached Nick Nurse a little bit last night.
Coming in right away. As soon as the starters come, as soon as Van Fleet's on the floor, all these Reddick's coming in, shoot right over him, no problem. Embiid's coming in, Ibaka's on the floor. It's embarrassing. So that their bench had outplayed the Toronto bench, and we focus so much. We put so much emphasis on depth. Oh, Raptors have great depth. Their bench can play just as well as their starters. What happened? We got outplayed by Greg Monroe and freaking James Ennis. who are these guys?
I didn't know James Ennis before this series.
Me neither.
So you want to give the plus minus for the 3 main bench players?
God, I don't even want to.
All right. Fred VanVleet. Norm Powell, who's getting too many minutes 18. When OG's sitting down, and Ibaka.
Norman Powell, minus 17. And Serge Ibaka, minus 12. The highest scorer coming off the bench had 3 points.
So your 3 main guys.
3 points.
Minus 18, minus 17, and minus 12. Highest scorer off the bench, 3 points. You want to put
the blame on someone? There you go.
I get that rotations are tighter, and your starters are relied on more. But your bench, the 4 minutes they come in for, cannot end up playing 12 minutes a night.
Off is Ibaka's playing 15 minutes.
He only played 13 last night.
Okay, yeah, 13 minutes, and he gave us 3 points?
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
I think a greater issue is,
come on,
Serge Ibaka is 6'10". Okay, the Raptors got out rebounded yesterday by a severe margin. Let me just find it here. It was something like 52 to 31. All right?
Really?
Yeah. Okay. Serge Ibaka is 6'10" and only had 1 rebound. And it's funny. I was talking to an uncle during the game, and when Danny Green was clanking his threes, he says, "Danny Green is making me sick." I said, I can live with missing a shot. What I cannot live with is when you don't have the work ethic and tenacity and the will to win. That's what rebounding is. Rebound is not very much about skill. Yeah. It's who wants that ball more. Who's here tonight to battle? And we got out battled on the boards. And second chance points wasn't a big difference when it came to the total for each team. But it was the rebounds. You got limited. Yeah. You couldn't get offensive rebounds, couldn't get defensive rebounds. For the total of the game was about 52 to 30, which is atrocious. And let's just go back to one adjustment that your guy Marc Gasol needs to make. All right?
Let's hear it.
Philly switched their whole strategy in terms of the defensive matchups, right? So for the whole game, they put Ben Simmons on Kawhi Leonard, which in game one, you saw mixes of him, Butler, and Tobias Harris. Okay? And then they put Joel Embiid on Pascal Siakam, which is very effective because that bigger body, which is kind of quick, he covered him a lot better than Tobias Harris did the previous game. So then that leaves the biggest mismatch on the court in the Raptors' favor. All right? A 7'1" Marc Gasol is going against a 6'9" scrawny Tobias Harris. And what did he do offensively? 5 points. I think he had 6 field goal attempts for the night. Went 1 for 6. You're 7'1" going to 6'9". You can't tell me you can't get more than 7 boards in your almost 40 minutes of gameplay and that you can't get more than 5 points. The problem is Gasol refuses to go inside on the offense. He just stands at the high paint at the 3-point line, sets a screen, and as soon as he gets the ball, there's so many times where he's wide open to take a shot, and he's like, oh, I have 10 feet of space, where's the pass? Yeah. And he refuses to dribble the ball in a Toronto Raptors uniform. And it's dumbfounding. You gave up 4 players for this guy and he can't dribble the ball? I get what he's doing defensively, sure, I'll give you that.
But I feel like that's his role. Like, his role is not
no, when you're losing in a game like this, okay, but you're talking about depth, right?
Yeah. When
Siakam is having trouble and Danny Green can't give you no scoring and Kyle Lowry gives you 20, but Siakam can't give it to you.
Siakam gave you 23 last night.
Okay, but on a bad field goal percentage and shooting, he wasn't as effective.
Yeah,
and he's going against Joel Embiid. That's not an easy 20.
It's not.
That's tough. He's banging and scraping, missed a lot more shots.
But again, you're talking about a healthy Siakam to is sick, throwing up.
Siakam should do better, but that's tough matchup. I don't fault Siakam for that. And he's used to going against guys who are 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", 6'6". Yeah. Not against guys who's 7'2" on the inside. Yeah, those sky hooks, those layups become a lot more difficult. But to get back to my main point, your center, who you trade 4 players for and supposed to make the difference making the playoffs, has to contribute more than 5 points and more than 6 field goal attempts.
Has he not made a difference?
Not on the offensive side.
Okay, but
besides setting screens up top and a couple good passes a game.
Raptors have had one game this whole playoffs that the opposing team has scored 100 points. One game.
Okay, I gave you the defense. I said besides a couple players, he's played defense.
What did Kawhi say after game 5?
What did he say?
He said, "Hey, whether we win or lose is whatever. As long as we can keep the other team below 100 points,
did he say that? Because that is dumb.
It's true though.
The point of basketball in the playoffs is to win the game. Who cares to keep it under 100 if you lose?
But they know they're gonna win if you keep the team under 100.
Okay, and then why did you lose last night? You had no depth help, and Marc Gasol is if you look at that depth chart, after your top 3 guys, Marc Gasol's got to be next to step up. Why is he gone from averaging 12 to 15 in Memphis to 5? Every game, he's getting 5 points, 5 points, 5 points, 5 points.
In Memphis. Him and Conley, who else?
So now he forgot how to. So now he forgot how to play offense.
No, but when he was doing all that offensively in Memphis, they lost every single fucking game. They didn't win a game.
No, that's because they were just atrocious.
They were atrocious, but support, and they were atrocious because Gasol was their main offensive player.
Yeah, I don't need him to be our main. I just need him to help out with more than 5 points as a starting player.
The ball movement on the court, you see him like he works the offense.
Yeah, he works some movement. He doesn't
have to be scoring.
But it's all on the perimeter. What center?
He's passing around.
What center in the league plays just on the perimeter besides DeMarcus Cousins? And he's the only guy who should.
Well, Joel Embiid was playing a lot in the perimeter last night too.
Again, left knee tendonitis and feeling sick. And Joel Embiid is a much better perimeter player than Marc Gasol. Would you not agree? Would you not agree?
What?
Who's a better perimeter player between Joel Embiid and Marc Gasol? One guy can play in the perimeter and one cannot.
I'd say Joel Embiid.
Exactly. So why is Marc Gasol stuck at the 3-point line, just setting screens and making passes?
Where would you say Joel Embiid is better in his game? In the perimeter or on the inside? In the paint.
Each center is better in the paint.
And where are they keeping Joel Embiid? On the perimeter.
You're going away from my main point here. Is why can Marc Gasol not turn his back, get down low, and have somebody toss him that ball? He's got Tobias Harris on him.
Yeah, but Tobias Harris was defending him really well last night.
You got 5 inches above him. Just turn and put that ball in.
As we saw in the Patrick Beverley Kevin Durant matchup, height does not always make that big of a difference.
Actually, as we saw the next game after,
okay,
it does. He dropped 50 on Beverly's head.
This is a point guard to a 7-footer.
Yeah,
that's a
dumb comparison you're making because you're scrambling for answers here.
No, but I'm saying that it happens. Kyle Lowry too. When he defends the big man, he does a lot better most of the time because he keeps them on the outside. You can shoot right over him, but how many people can?
Okay.
That's not Gasol's game. He doesn't just shoot up straight into someone's face.
No, I'm not saying to pull up on the 3 with Tobias. I'm
but
saying
even
take
the
him
mid-range.
down low. Take him down low and post up. I've barely seen him turn his back in a Toronto Raptors uniform. And when he has, he's hit them.
But I feel like he hasn't needed stuff. Like when you have a guy like Kawhi Leonard
doesn't need to do
dropping over 30 points every single game.
He doesn't need to do it.
Need to do that much.
He doesn't need to do it game by game. But on a game by game basis, you have to evaluate what's going on and see where does your team need you more tonight. It's like Kyle Lowry.
And hey, he
sets
threw up
up
a bunch of threes last night, and he missed most. I think he only hit one. Gasol.
Yeah, he was 1 for 6. He sucked. But you got to evaluate that moment and that game and see where you can help your team. And that's why I'm saying, you just proved my point. Thank you. We can move on to the next topic. Why is he staying at the 3-point line when he's not even that good of a shooter this year? Get inside and do your damn job. Don't need it every night, but I need it when our offense is stuck. Give us something different. Without him doing that, it's just Siakam going to the inside, and that's two. Then you're doubling Siakam.
This was also my exact argument with Kyle Lowry in Game 1 against Orlando Magic, and you were telling me, look at his plus and minus, look at the stuff he does around the court.
Kyle Lowry.
When I'm telling you, when we need you offensively and you don't show up,
But Kyle Lowry that game still did way more than Gasol did last night.
Gasol
100,000%.
had 5 assists, 7 rebounds.
5 assists. You want a trophy for 5 assists? That's all. You better get 5 assists when you don't dribble the ball and all you do is pass. You better damn right get 5 assists. If you don't, why are you there?
Okay, and Lowry had 0 points. This guy at least put up 5. Which probably could have won us that.
He's also inside, and it's easier to score for a center than a point guard.
That's a stretch. It's easier to score.
You're closer to the net. Higher odds. If you look at all the signs.
But you also have another big man guarding you. Okay,
so if you're Kyle Lowry, you have a guy same your size guarding you. We're arguing apples and oranges here.
We are,
but the point is, you're not getting the depth from the bench. They've been terrible this playoffs.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You want to put the blame on someone.
No,
look at the plus and minus of these players coming off the bench.
The playoffs.
They're a liability to be on the court.
It's the playoffs. I don't need them to play. You need your starters to bring it every night. The rotations are way tighter.
It's baffling that you have fucking Frederick VanVleet.
I agree.
Playing at all.
What
he hasn't been good at all. Like, even during the season. Yeah. Where is this idea that he should be fucking playing 15 minutes?
You know, probably the biggest laugh I've had in the last few months. I was watching ESPN. I think it was On the Jump. Rachel Nichols, Paul Pierce, and Tracy McGrady, I think. And the question was posed: is Fred VanVleet a starting point guard in the NBA, and should he be? I almost fell off this damn couch right here.
Who brought this question up?
Rachel Nichols. No, Rachel Nichols, the host.
What?
And I actually like her. For the life of me, I cannot understand where the opinion that Fred VanVleet is a game changer has come from. I get that last year he hit some big shots, but he disappears for the whole game and then hits 1 or 2 shots in the fourth. While he took 12 3-pointers, you better hit at least 1 or 2. Right? And this year, he's had that back injury, but as far as I know, he's fully healthy right now. Or you're good enough to go out there and play 20 minutes. You got to give us something besides being negative 17. Do you know what his point totals were last night?
Did he even have anything?
I'll give it to you in 1 second.
Think he scored a basket.
I think he had 0. I'm 97%
sure I know
the
bench highest scorer on the bench was 3 points.
Right? So
it had to be 0.
Let's see. Frederick VanVleet.
And what did he provide?
I got to scroll to the bottom here. 0 points. 0 for 2. Why you only... He shoots too much while you're only taking 2 shots.
But I don't get the minutes.
In 18 minutes.
Why is he on the court for that long?
He shouldn't be on the 18.
He's minus 18. He's a liability to be on the court. Take him the fuck off. Don't play him.
If you feel you need 18 bench minutes of guard play, I know Jeremy Lin kind of stumbled down the stretch, but Fred VanVleet has been terrible and been ineffective.
Try him.
Throw him in, or Patrick McCaw, or OG Anunoby. Give me something.
I don't know what it is with these coaches for Raptors. Same with Dwayne Casey. Why are they so stubborn in just not letting some guys play at all?
No,
just not switch it when things aren't going right. Why don't they switch it up?
Dwayne Casey was stupid for not playing James Johnson because playoffs is his time. But for Nick Nurse, I like how many players he's used. All right, I don't want my playoff rotation to be more than 8 to 10 guys. But when 2 or 3 of those guys have been terrible, you got to try somebody else.
That's what I'm saying.
Right?
It's keeping the same guys on that are causing your team to lose.
That's common sense. But I still get the feeling we're ripping this apart, dissecting what happened last night. As long as these guys hit their damn shots, it'll be over. It'll be over in 5 or 6.
I even said it yesterday. My brother asked me, he's like, "Oh, Raptors gonna slap them up and all this stuff," and I'm like, I think Philly might take this game tonight just because we might be a little too relaxed.
They got too excited.
But
I
still see
came
this.
out
It's
flat.
a 5-game series to me. That's it.
You think they're gonna go win 3 straight?
Yeah, that's Philly's moment. That was it.
They're not gonna get one on home
And
court.
you want to talk about Jimmy Butler? Oh, you see how Butler's a problem in the fourth.
He was a problem in the fourth.
He was.
He had 12 points yesterday, didn't
But
he?
you know what
in
his
the
overall
fourth?
field goal was? 9 for 22.
No, I know, and I said that last episode. If you actually listen to me when I speak, but I said fourth quarter he becomes a problem, and he was again last night. He was the only guy last night for me that actually did something for Philly. Ben Simmons was ineffective. Wasn't scared of him. Didn't notice him much. Joel Embiid, couple moments in the fourth, but besides that, I mean, JJ Redick played all right. Nobody impacted the game heavy for them besides Butler. So how do you go and lose that game? You played that bad offensively to
Even
lose
Redick,
that game.
What's it called? While Van Fleet was not on him and he was able to shoot right over Van Fleet, no problem. He was only 2 for 7 from the threes, and 2 for 8, even worse from the threes.
Yeah, nobody had a great night in Philly. Jimmy Butler's 30, but as you said, 9 of 22, shot 40%. Tobias Harris, 9 points, but 11 rebounds over Marc Gasol, which is impossible to me. Joel Embiid, 12 points. JJ Redick, 11. Ben Simmons, 6, 7, and 5. 3 for 6 shooting. James Ennis showed up, 13 points, and Greg Monroe gave him 10.
How did Boban do? I don't think he had anything.
No.
He's so slow. Like, I can't even watch him play. He's so slow. The way he moves.
Well,
running down the court just looks painful.
Did you expect him to do anything in his 1 minute of game action?
Hey, you see, Kyle Lowry had big things to say about him coming into the series. For some reason. I don't even know why.
Maybe he was listening to you, just all up on these Euros.
Fuck these Euros.
You heard it here first. Addis is off the Euro train.
I haven't been on that train. I didn't even like fucking the Joker. That wastes you.
What?
Jokic.
Oh, I'm not a big fan of Jokic. You don't like Luka Doncic?
I had Trae Young.
Oh, you did.
Here, you know that.
All right. There's a game 2 going down in the Western Conference tonight.
Yes,
That's gonna has a lot of
game too. I love this
of
series.
drama and intrigue before this one. All right. Houston is claiming they were robbed. Oh my God, poor babies, they were robbed. By the referees.
As much as it's happened the opposite way, that 3 from James Harden, that was a foul.
Are you kidding me?
That was a foul.
The NBA ruled that was not. You talking about the last one?
The one with Green, where he jumped into him?
No, that was not a foul.
That was a foul.
Okay,
bro,
tell me
motion.
this. Just be quiet for 3 seconds.
Let's hear it.
You play more basketball than me, so I'm going to pose this question to you.
Yeah.
When you take a jumper, a 3-pointer, a shot, okay? If you were taking off from where I'm standing here, are your feet supposed to be landing on the other end of this table in front of me right here, which is probably about 3 to 4 feet? Just answer that. Or are you going to come down within 1 feet of where you left off? Just answer that honestly.
Depends. Like, in the shot, like, if someone's...
That depends.
Someone bigger
James
than
Harden
you is guarding you, you're leaning back. Because you're trying to get that angle.
Okay, but then how would your feet land 4 feet forward?
Because someone's driving into you. And your legs kick out.
Dude, you're not going to land 4 feet forward.
You're telling me...
What James Harden was doing...
when Green jumped up to contest that shot, he wasn't going forward?
Slightly, but James Harden went even more forward, and James Harden was doing it all night. And this guy lollygags and cries and belittles the refs all season long. He gets fined multiple times throughout the season because he's a big baby. You think the refs are going to give you... Forget if it should have been a foul call. The way you act, do you think you're going to get the calls? And I know that Golden State...
It's not more issue in Chris Paul, though, the way he acted, not really with Harden.
Chris been doing his whole life, and at least he's a veteran. People respect him. And I get
he got
that.
Fine.
Are you ever going to let me speak here?
Huh? But I'm saying Chris Paul was a problem in that game.
Yeah.
He got the tech.
Yeah, and Dan Tony got a tech too, didn't he?
Maybe.
Yeah, and Chris got 2. But at the end of the day, when you treat the officials the way that James Harden does, and you're going against the best team in the league, arguably the best team in the history of the NBA, you know you're not going to get the advantage of calls, so you cannot expect that when you're a piece of crap towards them, you're going to get them. And what I'm so excited about is tonight, the official that the NBA has given is Foster. James Harden got fined 25 grand this
That's
season
a
for saying this
mess.
guy has a personal beef with James Harden. James Harden has fouled out of 4 games in his career, 3 of them with Foster officiating.
What do you see? See James Harden going the same route, or you
Yeah,
see him fixing himself
he's
up?
in his own head because he doesn't believe that he can beat Golden State, so he's looking for all these
You don't
excuses.
You don't believe that he thinks he can beat Golden State?
He's looking for excuses as he knows he lost the game. He was not that good that game. Terrible percentages. And, I need excuses because I didn't play that well.
Okay, but if that foul was called, which should have been, that would have been.
Yeah, it should not have been. Even the NBA's last 2-minute report. So here's what I'll tell you, Addis.
Let's hear it.
So they do the last 2-minute report
Yeah.
to the fans and the media. But there's also a 48-minute report that is delivered to each team in the playoffs after the game. The NBA breaks down the whole game, every single call. Okay? So they ruled that last one you're referring to was not a foul, correctly called. However, they said there was 11 blown calls that should have gone in the favor of the Warriors against the Rockets. And then there was 17 that were missed that should have been fouls on Golden State against Houston. So if they admitted that the discrepancy was so bad, 17 to 11, in favor of Golden State, if that was a foul, why would they not say, yeah, and it's 18-17? You're missing the point here. And the problem is, now that they're crying, it was carried over into the Raptors game last night. Jimmy Butler did exactly what I just described that James Harden does. He shoots and he kicks his legs in the air, and Danny Green gets called for a foul when Danny Green literally jumps straight up, but Jimmy Butler kicks him in the shins and Danny Green gets called for a foul.
You know who got who got the opposite treatment of that? Remember Kyle Lowry, I think it was in the Brooklyn series a few years ago? He had the same thing. He had a fadeaway and he kicked his foot out and they called a foul on Lowry.
Yeah, exactly. It's prejudice. It's favoritism in terms of which team the NBA wants to promote.
We're just going off that, but Kawhi Leonard, every time this guy drives, it's a foul. How is no one calling it for him? Every time they're hitting him, they're bumping him.
Do you want me to tell you why? It's something DeMar DeRozan realized after a few seasons.
They don't like us?
You're wearing a Toronto Raptors jersey. Do you think
as
good as the Raptors are?
I can see it watching from TV. How these guys are on the court? They don't see it?
Addis, unless LeBron James is wearing a Raptors uniform, why in the world would the NBA want to see the Raptors go far in the playoffs or potentially to the NBA Finals? Why would they? It would be terrible for their TV viewers and the money they should be making. It would be atrocious. Even if you look at revenue sharing for everybody else. When the games are in Toronto, we are paying for stuff in Canadian dollars, 30% below the US dollar. When it comes to revenue sharing, that's less revenue being shared. It is bad for the NBA business-wise to have the Raptors go further and further in the playoffs. So why would they be getting the calls?
Well,
It's something I've come to accept. It still angers me. The only report I've ever seen acknowledge it is Dan Lebitard of ESPN. He says it's atrocious, the biggest kept secret, the heist against the Toronto Raptors in the NBA. And as he said,
remember at one point they had to escort the refs out of the game?
ACC,
Yeah.
we had enough. We're rowdy. Canada, stand up. We the North.
You got the whole country on your back, bro, if you fuck with us.
All right. Portland, Big L.
Before we move on to that, give me your prediction for tonight. Golden State, Houston.
I think Steph Curry and Klay Thompson's ankles feel better, and Golden State wins.
Early 2-0 lead.
Yep, home court. Here's the thing.
I see that going 7 games that series.
You think Houston's winning tonight?
I see it's a back and forth. Yeah. I think they both get one win at home.
See, but that game to me was very similar to Game 2 of Raptors and Sixers, where Golden State put on a platter for Houston to win because their offense was so bad,
Yeah.
and Houston couldn't take advantage. So what are the odds that you're going to have Steph Curry and Klay Thompson shoot under 35% in back-to-back playoff games?
It can happen, man. They haven't looked that good.
They've looked good enough, and they've come to play when it matters.
You know who's looked good?
And you see Steph
Kevin
Curry's
Durant. I feel
he's healthy.
He gets overlooked so much. He's the best Warrior. I'll say it. He's the best.
He's the
Warrior.
best player, but nobody likes him.
No one likes him, but every fucking night this guy gives you those numbers.
He's the best player in the league. That's agreed
you can watch.
upon.
Oh, look, Steph Curry's banging a few threes. Oh, great. Oh, like this is
Because
crazy.
as
Late
good
in the
as-
game, and then you look at the stats and go, oh shit, Kevin Durant had 35. You know, like it's always overlooked. Like Kevin Durant is consistently every night giving you 30 points,
But
winning most games.
26 seconds left in the game, up 2 points. Who's got the ball in their hand? Who's cooking?
Give me
Kenneth
KD.
Faried and banging that three. It wasn't Kevin Durant.
Wasn't,
It was Stephen Curry. the best shooter in the history of the league and the most important player to that Golden State Warriors team.
Really, you
Facts.
think so?
He's more important. The numbers show it.
Did the numbers show it? How many championships they win with him?
With
Just
before
him?
Durant?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they were 1-1. They won one, lost one.
And then when Durant came?
Okay, first of all,
2-0?
you're taking my comment way out of context, but that's fine. You had Durant. You had Durant to 3 All-Stars on any team. They're gonna go on that run. 4 All-Stars on any NBA. Whether it's Kevin Durant or not.
They can't do it without him.
Really?
They lost.
I don't have the. I
They
don't
won
have the
6
number.
games. They won 6 games
And lost to the greatest player in the history of the sport.
No. They won 6 games and won. No, I'm saying the year that they won.
Yeah.
Against LeBron, but they went 6 games to a Cavaliers team where their second best player was
Against
Matthew
the
Dellavedova. Matthew Dellavedova fucking Dova.
You
Did you
saying
even
that
hear
was their
about him
best, second best player? Did you
that
forget
series?
about? Did you forget about Kyrie Irving? Who hit that
Kyrie
big
Irving
shot?
was out. What do you mean? Kyrie Irving.
Oh,
Kevin
when they
Love-
won. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, I'm confusing
That's
here.
what. No, when Golden State won.
Yeah,
with just Curry and Klay Thompson.
That is a
Draymond.
LeBron James effect. You're a LeBron James fan. Did you not watch this guy's career?
I know, but I'm just saying.
And that was the first year that Golden State actually took
You
that
think
step
Kevin Durant
forward.
would ever allow that?
Dude,
with
Kevin
the-
Durant
with
allowed
the-
himself to blow a 3-1 lead to that very team, and then allowed himself to lose in the
Did he?
finals with the stacked team.
A lot of people put the blame on Westbrook. As
No, that series
people like you.
I fault Kevin Durant more than Westbrook.
Really?
He took terrible shots down the stretch of the last 2 games. Terrible. Go back and find the film. Double teams from the corner he's
I'm
pulling
gonna
up.
have to. It's a throwback game.
Yeah.
But
You got me sidetracked. I don't even know
Yeah.
where we're going with this.
I know. Let's move
oh,
on though.
who is important? Steph or Durant? I'm not going to pull up the numbers now, but if you find their record when Steph plays and KD doesn't, and then vice versa, when KD plays and Steph doesn't. When KD plays, they're a 500 team without Steph. When Steph has played in the last 2 years without KD, you know what they're on pace for? 73 wins. So, and when
Rings?
Steph's
How
out of
many
the lineup, Clay's numbers go down, Draymond's numbers go down,
And
Iguodala's
they still win.
no.
No.
They're 500 when Steph is. You're not listening to the words
But
coming
I'm
out of my
talking
mouth.
about in the final, when it actually matters. Fuck the season. Don't
He's
give
been.
me-
Are you kidding? That team's obviously gonna win with him. I'd like to see a Kevin Durant in the finals without Steph Curry. That's the only way to tell.
I would like to see Golden State win it without Kevin Durant.
They did.
Once, and they lost.
And has Kevin
The
Durant
year
ever
right
won
after.
without Steph Curry or all of Golden State? Never.
But he won twice with them. As soon as he joined
Exactly,
that
he
team.
had to be with them. Steph has
No,
done
but
it
as
without
soon
him.
as he
He's
joined
never
that
done it
team,
without
it was
Steph.
2 blowouts.
Yes, because any team with 4 All-Stars and 2 top 5 players in the league is going to blow
They
out
had 4
anybody.
All-Stars when they lost to the Cavaliers, too.
No, they didn't.
Yes, they did.
Harrison Barnes was not an All-Star. Dumbass.
Was he not? I feel
No.
like he was.
Draymond Green is a borderline
Iguodala?
All-Star.
Iguodala
No.
was Finals MVP when they won.
Okay, Finals MVP is not an All-Star. He had one good fucking series.
I don't
Came
know.
to play.
Okay, you're saying Iguodala only had a good series.
Yeah,
and
he
he's
showed
not
up
a
in the finals.
All-Star.
He's not
How-
an All-Star. He hasn't been
how
an All-Star
many-
since Philly days.
Name me another non-All-Star that was a Finals MVP.
Dude, he hasn't been an All-Star since Philly. How are you saying he's an All-Star?
Because he was a Finals fucking MVP. He was the best player when
Sorry,
it
we're talking
mattered the
about two
most to
different
win a
things.
championship. Fuck you.
He was
the
averaging
season.
12
The
points a
season don't mean
game
shit.
all year. All playoffs, he was averaging 12, 15 max.
And then it came to Finals.
Yeah, and he played well. He's
He
not an
played
All-Star.
amazing. He was a
They did
Finals
not have
MVP.
4 All-Stars that year.
They had 3.
They had 3.
Okay, who has 3 now?
Okay.
The same team. Golden State Warriors.
But you have 2 players who are top 5 players. You have the best player in the league and the best shooter of all time. Are you kidding me? In any era. Put him against those Jordan Bulls. I'm taking Golden State.
I'd agree to, yeah.
Exactly. So there you go. Get out of here that Steph can't do it without KD. KD can do it.
But they were saying the same
We need
thing
to move
when
on,
they,
man.
when they had
We need to move on. You're
Fuck
dragging out this
Fuck.
argument.
Fuck the Warriors. I don't even want to hear about them anymore.
Why are you so bitter against the... I mean, I hate
The
Kevin Durant.
Warriors?
The Warriors back
Why am I
basketball.
so bitter
but
to the Warriors? 'Cause they ruined
I know
the
why
league.
you're bitter. All right.
Okay.
Your boys, Portland Trailblazers,
Took an L.
were a victim to that blue arrow last night
Fuck.
from Kitchener native Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic.
I feel like he was more of an impact in that game than
Oh,
The arrow.
Jamal came in those moments that they needed him, man. He was huge. You want
he
me to-
did. But 37, 11, and what? How many assists?
Oh, for what?
7?
Jokic?
Yeah.
37, 9, and 6. 11 of 18. 3 for 5 from deep. He's kind of proven me wrong. I said he's overrated coming into the playoffs.
I did tell
stepped
you
up.
I think he's the best offensive center in the league.
He might be.
He might be?
He's a beast inside.
Be? You can't name me another center that can put up those numbers.
Joel Embiid, healthy.
Oh, fuck, you're healthy.
Don't go back here. Don't get this whole
If you're playing,
argument
I'm
started
going to take
again.
it that you're healthy. I don't want to hear it.
Oh, my God.
That's all I'm
Do you understand playoffs in sports? You've never played organized sports, I guess, in your life.
I have
football
2 years.
How old were you? How old were you?
Playing.
You were 8 years old.
I don't want to hear about
knocked out, broke your knee, and then you stopped playing because you got no guts.
Because I got no guts.
Listen to the doctors. You hang them up.
Listen to the doctors.
Exactly.
Found
You want these guys to listen to the doctors and give up on their teams?
Hmm?
You want these guys to give up on?
No, but if you're playing, I don't want to hear
Embiid
about.
probably
I
shouldn't be
was
playing the
injured. I
series.
should have been
No,
playing. I'm sick. I'm throwing up all morning.
I'm just saying.
Keep that shit
I'm
to
taking
yourself
a healthy.
if you're gonna be playing.
When Joel Embiid is healthy for 40 games in a season, I'm taking him over Jokic.
Okay, but I'm telling. Okay,
But
are you serious?
Yes.
What is? Why? Why?
Oh my-
Please tell me why. I want to know why.
He's got more ways to impact the game.
Like,
number
maybe
one,
those ways.
number one is defensive capabilities. Jokic is a non-existent defender because he's worse than Marc Gasol.
No. Listen.
No, I'm
Two-way,
saying
yeah.
okay.
I'm talking about offensively.
Okay, offensively, I probably still take Embiid because at least he can do stuff off the dribble, driving to the hoop. Jokic is post up,
can't?
down low. Not really.
What are you
How often
talking
does
about?
he drive?
Huh? How,
He's
you think all his
inside-
points are coming from the 3-point line? Like,
No,
or
he's
from mid-range?
inside,
Like,
dominating inside and shooting.
how many assists does this guy put up? He's probably one of the best passing
Okay,
big men.
you're just talking scoring, but now you're going assists.
No, but I'm saying
you're
he
splitting it
dribbles.
around here, my friend.
Assists, like you.
Okay,
He
Gasol
does it
gets
all.
assists without dribbling.
What did freaking Charles Barkley say?
I don't know, but I'm sure
Nikola
you'll tell me.
Jokic is the best passing big man that he's seen in the history of the NBA.
Okay, that's cool.
Shaq fully
Most of the
went
time, most of the time,
said no.
we're saying Charles Barkley's a clown, so I don't know why we're putting so much
he's
faith
the only
into
one
what
that
he's
reps
saying
Toronto.
now.
I ain't calling him a clown.
That's the only thing that I'd probably agree with that comes out of his mouth.
The Raptors that talk.
I don't disagree with him as much as Paul Pierce, but he's close. He's close. But I think Portland probably they took Denver a little bit easy. And
But again, Dame had an amazing game.
Dame played great. And you know
But
what he's giving you?
When
But
you have 3 players
unfortunately-
playing insane on Denver, you kinda
unfortunately
stuck.
for Portland, the combo of Murray and Jokic were more effective than Dame
Millsap
and
too,
McCollum.
man. That's a good team.
And Millsap. McCollum only had 16. And he in the
Don't even
playoffs,
fuck McCollum.
he's appeared as a passenger.
Yeah.
But to me, what it looks like is Dame has said in his head, or to McCollum, hey, last 2 years I've given you even touches and we've lost. Get the fuck out of here. I'm taking this team.
I feel like it's a known, like they didn't need to say it.
No, that's
they both
whether
know.
it's said or not. It's
Yeah, they
Dame's
know.
got the attitude that, hey, I'm gonna do whatever I can because having you help me the last 2 years has not translated into any wins as we've been swept, right? And give Dame credit, but I think the rest of the team was lackluster last night. Besides
Except
Enes
for Cantor,
Kanter,
yeah.
I don't
played well.
11 for 14
Coming
inside.
off an injury
Oh.
too, eh?
Yeah,
You want to talk about?
He hasn't looked
You want
phased.
to talk about being injured and playing?
Good for him.
You hear him being
He's
like,
not shooting
"Oh, I
though.
was not playing my best."
He's
not
putting layups
shooting.
inside. It's easier to shoot with the go layup with the hurt shoulder than shoot like Paul George is trying to do.
Is it though?
And Paul George still
Through
showed
all
up
that
that last game,
contact?
buddy.
Who are you pushing in? With your shoulder. It's a lot of contact on the shoulder. It's not easier to shoot.
Okay,
than it
but
is to pull up on the inside.
was his left shoulder or right shoulder?
It's
You
left.
don't even know.
It's his
Fake
left.
Portland
It's
fan.
his left.
Portland.
just
yeah, and
remembering
he's shooting
him at
with
the
his
press
right,
conference.
so he's Gucci.
Yeah, but you're pushing in with the left.
Yeah, you take that impact. It's playoffs. You gotta fight.
There you
fight.
go. You don't hear about him saying, "Oh, I'm not at my best. I'm injured." He just said, "Yeah, I'm good
just
to
saying,
play.
when
I'm
guys are
I'm here
hurt,
to play."
They're hurt. They sometimes can't do the. They're trying
The
out
thing
there.
is, when you're out there playing, I don't want to hear it as an excuse.
They're not using an excuse. I'm using it as an excuse for them. They're never gonna say it.
I'm 100% Joel Embiid will say it. He's a fucking
He might. Joel Embiid is a character,
yeah.
and he's kind of soft in his head, right? Kind of like
He
KD.
is.
He's a character. I don't think there's much to discuss. Denver, Portland. We'll see. We'll see how the series
We'll see, yeah.
unfolds. I'm pulling for Denver just because of Canadian connection. I'm a big Jamal Murray fan. I've said it time and time again.
So you're
he's-
going
he's-
7 or shorter?
I think if Denver wins, it's gonna go 6. Denver winning in 6. I'm taking it. But I've said it time and time again. Jamal Murray has surpassed Andrew Wiggins as the best Canadian player in the world.
Yeah, I'd agree
And
with that.
I think that's... How does Wiggins not get a fire lit under his ass watching Jamal ball out in the
He
playoffs?
does not look like he cares.
Nah, he doesn't care. He's a pastor.
He's
I've
on a-
defended him way too much. I don't know why the hell that jersey's on my damn wall. Can you guys see it? Addis is bad at the camera work, so you can't even see his name. But number 22, Wiggins, right above Addis's head. I think it's time to transition to the best sport in the world with the shittiest playoffs in the world.
You think so, man?
I do.
Okay, I'm going to name you the teams that are out of the playoff picture.
In the NHL.
And you're going to tell me if you're still interested in the playoffs.
All right.
Pittsburgh, out. Tampa, out. Toronto Maple Leafs, out. Washington Capitals, out. I'm going over to the West. Vegas, out. Nashville, out. Calgary and Winnipeg, both out.
So,
who are you looking at in this playoffs?
Here's where I'm going to go with that question.
After all that.
From the perspective of the league and Gary Bettman, they got to realize two things. Yes, you want to have great first-round matchups, rivalries, and you want to get different teams involved that maybe aren't
you want like a storyline.
Conductive playoff teams year in, year out. But when you have those 8 teams you just named, maybe take Calgary out of there, but 7 perennial markets, perennial teams that everybody wanted to see going far in the playoffs, thought they're going to make runs, had a lot of intrigue, not just from their markets.
I'm sure that betting odds went to all these teams.
But not just from their markets, all of Canada, whether you're a Leafs, you either hate the Leafs or you love the Leafs, right? So you want to watch the Leafs in Boston.
Yeah,
but you don't have to be a Tampa fan, but they set the NHL record for wins in a season, 62. So you're watching their series. Nashville, every series they're involved in is a dogfight. Who else is in the West? Vegas and San Jose, fantastic series. Vegas is such a great story. You have all of these storylines and markets that people actually give a damn about wiped out because the dumb playoff format the NHL has introduced in the last, 4 years now, and they actually voted to keep it for next year. And what they're going to realize very quickly is that they should not have quickly voted to have the same system for next year, and it's going to get abolished in the new CBA. Is how bad
this system?
So
people who don't know.
The way it is now, you got the 2 divisions in each conference.
Yeah.
Right? So the top 3 teams in each division make up the 6 teams that go to the playoffs. Then you have 2 wild card spots.
Yeah.
That can be from either division, the next best 2 teams. That's all fine and dandy. Where the problem is who matches up with who. So the top team in that conference plays the second wild card team. So top team versus shittiest team, that's like a 1-8, pretty close to it.
Makes sense.
And then the second best team will face the the better wild card team.
Yeah.
And then you have 2 and 3 in each division play each other. The biggest issue becomes with that 2 and 3, because if you look at the Atlantic Division with the Leafs and Boston, the last 2 years they've been top 4 teams in the conference, but one of them has been knocked out in the first round. Pittsburgh and Washington for 3 straight years are playing in the first, second round. Top 2 teams those years getting knocked out first or second round. So you're getting higher seeds. Tampa Bay with Columbus, they just dropped the ball. But Stamkos even said it. Toronto doesn't deserve to be playing Boston. They're the 3rd best team in the conference, battling all year, and they're playing the 2nd best team in the conference. How does that make any sense? Your 2nd and 3rd best teams in the conference are playing in the first round. And it's the same story out west. So now what you have is a bunch of great teams are being knocked out in the first round. Your first round is fantastic, and your semifinals and your conference finals are lackluster as shit. And now the TV ratings are going to drop so far off, and the NHL's going to be kicking themselves when they realize that nobody gives a damn and nobody's paying attention to the NHL playoffs anymore.
Okay, I can understand TV ratings. How bad of a thing is that? These brand new teams that haven't really made any runs in the playoffs before have just eliminated the best teams. It's not a bad thing.
No,
that just means like
I'm
it's
saying in
getting
terms
more
of
competitive
intrigue from a fan standpoint,
I guess,
which the NHL is in the market of making money.
I feel like in the long run it's good.
Potentially,
because you're building these markets are getting bigger.
You're building up those individual markets, but you're not building up the game. So for those little markets, Islanders, Hurricanes, sure. But you think Hurricanes are going to start selling out games next year? No way. That team's been there how long? And they've had a attendance problem every single season.
I guess, but
Same with Islanders.
A lot of these teams like that have been next year at least, not for this playoffs. There's a chance at redemption. You know, it's kind of like, oh, you were knocked out by a wild card last year.
I guess, but
what's gonna happen now?
There's not even the names on these teams that you want to watch. The NHL is not like the NBA, where
I feel the star quality lacks.
The NHL is not as much star driven as the NBA is, but Why do people want to watch Leafs games? Well, you want to see what Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner are going to do. Why are you watching Penguins games? Well, Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin. You want to see Stamkos and Kucherov on Tampa Bay. Who do you want to watch on Columbus? Matt Duchene's okay, but Artemi Panarin, one guy, Russian. All right?
Is there any teams, though, that are still in the playoffs that you're looking at?
I like St. Louis and Dallas is a good series. That's the only series I'm probably going to be tuned into heavily watching. And that's because Jordan Binnington is a good story, rookie goaltender. He's amazing to watch. And then you got Tyler Seguin and Jimmy Benn, Canadians, that are ripping up for Dallas. That's the only team with heavy star presence remaining. And, hey, coincidence maybe, or coincidence not, that's the one series that I'm still fully invested and intrigued in. San Jose, Colorado, Nathan McKinnon's a cool story. He's a good player in San Jose. So I guess, personally, it's a wash to me. I'm probably still bitter that San Jose beat Vegas.
Columbus and Bruins, nothing?
No, if you're a Bruins fan, you're watching that. If you're a Columbus fan, you're watching that. I think the general hockey fan is not interested.
Took out the best team.
And then they lost the first game to Boston.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, there's no intrigue in seeing how far they can actually get after eliminating
I don't
Tampa.
think anybody believes in them. Even though they took a Tampa Bay, I don't think anybody believes they can actually go and win a cup. And if they do, it's because the Eastern Conference now is so diluted. That's what sucked for the Leafs losing. You had a clear path to go to the conference finals, to a Stanley Cup final. The first round is going to be your hardest matchup because that's the way the NHL is set up. The first round is now the best round. You're not having when Chicago and with the old NHL format, when Chicago and LA were winning their cups, Chicago got 3 in 6 years, LA got 2 in 4. They were meeting in the conference finals almost every year, and it was that Western Conference. You wanted to see that first round, second round, third round every single season, and now it's after the first round, it's garbage. For me now, because of all these teams that have been eliminated, the team that Canada is going to field at the World Championships is one of the best since Sidney Crosby played a few years ago.
All these guys got an early vacation,
and still so many guys are not playing. Stamkos, Morgan Riley, but still, let me rip off these names. John Tavares is the one superstar going, but there's a lot of really good top 6 forwards going for Canada. Sean Couturier, Adam Henrique, Dylan Strome, Kyle Turris, John Tavares, Matthew Joseph, Sam Reinhart, Anthony Mantha, Mark Stone had a fantastic playoffs, Anthony Cirelli, Jonathan Marchessault, great player, Tyler Bertuzzi. Then you have on defense a couple young guys, Fabro, Nurse, Shea Theodore, Troy Stetcher, Brandon Montour, Thomas Chabot. Goaltending, Matt Murray, Carter Hart. That's the best team you've probably had in the last 3 or 4 years. And I actually like their odds. And it's not just Canada. Sweden's got some good players going. William Nylander's going. There's a Leafs aspect. Russia's got Evgeny Malkin. Ovechkin's probably going to end up going. I'm intrigued by these World Championships because it's not often we have this much talent going.
Young guys, they can still play. They don't have to set off for the rest of the summer.
And as you see the second round, still some guys will end up going over too to Europe for this championship.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And the NHL playoffs to me is it's not a wash up now. I'll watch games here and there, Stanley Cup final, but the intrigue is severely less, and I think around our country and around the world.
You wouldn't be interested in like Colorado, Columbus
final?
It just sounds stupid even saying that.
You're not even a big hockey guy, and you're like, that just sounds stupid. So let me get your thoughts. You're not a big hockey guy, but you said in that first round, you loved watching the first round.
I did, and now I'm completely
do you care to watch the second round? And you weren't just watching Leafs games. You watched Vegas and San Jose too, and other series. You're not gonna watch nothing now. And
it's kind of like if you to relate it to another sport. Let's say Toronto, like if it was Brooklyn against Orlando in the second round.
Yeah,
like, who's
get the hell out of here.
No, there's like maybe half an all-star on the team.
Right, it's just those markets. It's good for those markets, but it's not good for the game as a whole.
It's good for the future. Yeah, because there's a lot of teams that they weren't a market, but as soon as they slowly start building, players start going over there. Oh shit, you guys want a cup?
Yeah,
why not?
Well, where I think a great problem lies for the league is playoffs is when people who are lackluster hockey fans or general fans, they become more intrigued as the playoffs. Same with basketball. If you're a casual fan, you're going to tune into playoffs. You just lost that whole ability of those fans tuning in to watch your sport.
Ovechkin versus Crosby, like crazy matchups. People are like, oh, who's better? Who's the GOAT? Yeah. Now it's like, fuck, okay, let's see.
There's minimal storylines.
I think it's good in the long run, though, maybe for next year.
Yeah.
Some of the teams that got eliminated, they can redeem themselves.
Yeah.
See if they get better or worse.
Yeah. Now we spoke on the Leafs a little bit. To finish off the show, let's dive into
who's getting moved out.
Dive into their off-season troubles and plans. And
I'm going with Kadri out of this.
Well, out of what?
lineup of players trying to get moved out. Well, that they're gonna have to move out.
So
So
you got a list.
I got a list
Pose
of
the
5
question
guys.
and
Alright.
give me the list.
Out of Kadri, Johnson, Kapanen, Nylander, and Marner, who gets kicked out? And Marlowe, sorry.
And
Thank
Patrick Marleau.
Yeah.
Out of those 6 guys, I think.
Who would you move out?
Who would I move out? Like, if I had to choose, it's going to end up being, I think what's going to happen, Kapanen and Janssen are probably both going to be gone. And your depth is going to take a big hit. And unless Mitch Marner thinks he deserves $13 million, then I think he's out the door. And let him sign an offer sheet and give me those first four first-round picks that I can flip. Now, it's all going to have to do with Mitch Marner. If he comes in at above 11, then William Nylander is the guy gone. Because
how much of an effect, though, to the team is it if he gets booted out?
Marner?
Yeah.
I think the odds of that happening are very, very slim. I think if he does get that contract that's above Matthews or even at the 11, it's going to be Nylander's who's gone. I don't think that they'd choose to trade Mitch Marner, but I might. I'd probably go that route. If he thinks he deserves 12, 13, you're at a stalemate, it's getting end of summer. You can't let it drag on like William Nylander's did. You saw what happened. His game went to craps. The team was... it affects the team morale in the dressing room too.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
But the problem I have with Mitch Marner and his agent is if they believe in those reports are correct that he deserves $13 million, they're way over their heads. I get this kid is spectacular. He's our leading point scorer. But you have to realize 2 factors. Wingers get paid less than centers, and that's just the way it is. Centers affect the game in more ways.
Yep.
All right? You're playing with John Tavares. He's making you better as well. Even though you were good last year, you weren't this good. John Tavares helped you. And number 2, you do not score goals. Okay? And the hardest thing to do in hockey, and the most premium thing you pay people for, is scoring goals. I don't care if you get 100 assists. If you can't put the puck in the net, you're not going to get paid the same. And there were times in that Boston series, game 2 that they lost. He could have tied up the game at a wide open net. He didn't realize the shooting opportunity and tried feeding it to Tavares through 2 guys. And the pass got blocked and gone the other way. If he learns to put the puck in the net, like Patrick Kane does, and Patrick Kane is the comparable everybody wants to label him to. Well, Patrick Kane is a perennial 30-goal scorer. We'll give you 30 goals a minimum every year with his 100 points. Mitch Marner, you're lucky if you get 20. He's going to get you 15 goals.
Did have
at
a
the
hot
most.
start, though, in the playoffs. It's our first game, he
And
had
then-
2 goals.
That's a good point, too. Number 3, where'd you go after game 1 against Boston, buddy? Where did you go? Couldn't find you.
His best moment was saving those 2 shots.
Yeah, those two block shots. So
Yeah.
doesn't that say something when your best moment in the playoffs was
It's
a
a
block
block
and a shot when you think you should be making 11,
13.
12, 13 million?
That's crazy.
12, 13, we're getting into Connor McDavid territory. McDavid's at 12.5 or 13. Like, that's just nuts to me. So I think it's all going to lie up with Mitch Marner. And Kyle Dubas, the GM, recognized that. He said, I got to get this done by July 1st. Because if it's not done by July 1st, you have no idea who you can sign, who you
He's
can
got
trade,
2
or
months
nothing.
to think about it. It's
Right?
a lot.
So, again, to repeat, if he comes in a high number, Nylander's gone. If he comes in at a lower number, then you're going to see the guys like Janssen and Kapanen moved on from, just because you can't fit those guys. Janssen was offered, I believe Darren Dreger, Bob McKenzie reported around the trade deadline. They offered him $2.1 million per year for 2 years and like 2.6 or 2.8 for 4 years. He declined that. So he thinks clearly he should be making $3 million or more. He probably should be making $3.5. If he gets that, then Kapanen should be making more than him. Kapanen's going to come in around 4. Man, that's another $7 million. Can't afford that. Both those guys are
It's
gone.
A lot of fucking
And for the people who want to trade Nazem Kadri, that is one of the most valuable contracts
I
in the
know,
league.
but I just feel
He's
like
making only $4.5 million.
there's got to be some repercussions to his actions that he caused.
Yeah, he's going to anger management classes. The Leafs are going to put him in.
That's going to really help. Anger management classes.
So if you watched Kyle Dubas' end of season press conference, he says the main thing we got to do is help Nazem Kadri control his temperance and help him not cross that line. He goes, and he admitted what you asked me last episode about, isn't there somebody else that can do what Kadri did against DeBrusque? No, and Dubas confirmed it. He said he's a guy who plays a style that we need, and he's the only one on our team that does it. So we need him, but we just need him to stay in the lineup.
But that's what I'm trying to get. We need him.
You cannot trade that.
Can't
It was
need
clear
him and
in
not have him.
It was clear in this playoffs they need more of the style of Nazem Kadri, that sandpaper, that grit. Boston bullied them around and they couldn't get down low, couldn't get pucks to the net, couldn't win battles.
Yeah, but it could cost
And
them
now you're
series
gonna
too.
and now you're gonna get rid of that guy though. The guy who plays a style that you need more of, you're gonna subtract from his lineup, and where you're gonna find more guys
But I
when,
feel like
you're so restricted
you need that
salary
style
wise.
more of from like the lower level. You don't need that from a star. Like
He's not a star.
Kadri.
He's third line center. He
Yeah,
plays
but-
his role.
Clearly, as soon as what happened to what's it called, Leafs, as soon as he was kicked out of the lineup.
Yeah, just sucked.
Exactly, but
They-
you don't need that from him. You don't
Well,
need
they
that
still
from
played.
guys
They
like
still
him.
played well. What was it? Game 5. Played lights out. And Dubas said the way we play in Game 5 is the way I like to see us play every game. They're still capable of it, but it's a lot harder to do what they need to do in the playoffs if you take out Kadri. And
Yeah.
if you want to try and add more of that style, if you take out Kadri, you got to replace Kadri and then still add more. And that's a tough toll to do when you're right against the salary cap. It's a salary cap era. You got to recognize it. He's only making $4.5 million for a guy who scored 30 goals last year and the year before. This year fell off a little bit, but way less ice time with John Tavares. He can play shutdown center, power play. I think he should be penalty killing, even though he doesn't. I think he should be out the PK more than Tavares. I just don't think you can move on from that contract. And come on, do you think he can really do that for a third straight year and get kicked out of the first round? You have to be an absolute lunatic to do a third straight year. I have to think that he's going to learn from it and move on. Take it as a learning lesson. That's why I'm keeping Nazem Kadri and moving on from the other guys.
So who are you moving on?
Janssen Captain are going to be gone. As much as I don't want to see that depth gone, that's why I said this year was such a squandered opportunity. Not only because the good teams are knocked out of the playoffs, but because your team
So
is...
are you giving Martin that $13 million? Or
No.
what?
Not a chance. If he wants $13 million, he's a restricted free agent. So what happens is there's a breakdown.
Yeah.
If another team wants to sign him to an offer sheet, he can sign that. The Leafs have the opportunity to either match that
Do you
contract.
see any other team offering him that though?
Arizona, Carolina, teams who have to meet the cap floor.
You think he
Not
takes
many
it?
teams have that much salary space. Well, here's the thing: if he thinks the Leafs are only going to give him 8.5, and his agent has him that pissed off, he might accept the offer sheet just to say, okay, the Leafs will match the offer sheet, and I'll be back in Toronto. But if he signs an offer sheet at 12 or 13, the Leafs cannot match it. So what ends up happening is that team has to give the Leafs compensation.
Yeah.
For that, I have a contract. The compensation is 4 first-round picks. You know what you can trade 4 first-round picks for? A whole lot. And you can get young guys on entry-level
That's not
contracts.
bad of a trade-off then. If another team does want to pay him that.
To be honest, if Matthews was doing the same thing, I said this for last year. If the Leafs couldn't sign Matthews, even though they did re-sign him, it all went good. At a good value, 11.5. It went to the offseason. Arizona would have offer sheeted him, his hometown team. Give me those 4 first-round picks. Let me flip those. I can get cheaper players who are almost just as good, and I can get 3 of those for 4 first-round picks. So it's going to be interesting offseason, and it's going to be interesting to see whether a rookie general manager who's in his young 30s, Kyle Dubas, can get this done. I think the Leafs have the toughest offseason ahead of them in the National Hockey League, next to Tampa Bay. But it's going to be a tough toll. You have anything left to
Well,
sound off on?
I just remembered actually. It is Cinco de Mayo weekend,
Really?
meaning there's a big boxing fight going on.
Who?
It's like there is every year. It's Saul Canelo Alvarez versus
Oh,
Daniel
really?
Jacobs.
And where's this fight going down?
I'm just gonna take a guess. In
Take a
Vegas or
Oh, my God.
in Los Angeles.
What weight class is
I'd
this?
say, huh? Oh wait, it's a middleweight, so 160.
And this is for a title, I assume.
This is for Canelo's belts. I believe he has a WBA, the
Okay.
main title for the.
So what do you
Is it-
expect this fight? What's happening?
This is a crazy fight. These are two guys that, in Daniel Jacobs, that I believe beat Golovkin when they fought each other
Mm-hmm.
and laid out the blueprint on how to beat Golovkin.
Yeah.
And then a guy in Canelo who did, in fact, give Golovkin his first loss. They both kind of have the same style. They hit and they move. They hit, move, they're quick. They throw crazy combinations and then they move out of the way. I don't, honestly, this is one of the fights just... You
gonna
put
be
your money on
intrigue.
either guy, you could win, you know? It's like...
Who are you betting on? I'm going to bet on the opposite.
I'm going to tell people to bet on Canelo Alvarez.
All right, I'm betting on Daniel Jacobs. Addis' record betting against me, he's like 1 for 35.
Well, maybe two.
All right, to end off the show, it's happening May 4th in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Cinco
Who
de
you picking to
Mayo.
win? Alvarez?
Picking Alvarez, my boy.
All right, you heard it here.
Canelo.
You heard it here. If you bet on Alvarez, you lose money. Find him on Instagram at AddisK25, I think.
Yes, sir.
You can go beef him in the DMs.
Message me up.
And
Give me your reasons as to why Jacobs is winning. Let's hear it.
I think he's gonna win just because you said Alvarez is winning. I know nothing, absolutely nothing about this, but I like the name Daniel Jacobs.
Hey, he's
And
a guy.
I'm looking at a picture of this guy. This white boy, he's redhead. He's got the red beard. Looks like a hick.
You know what Canelo means?
He's coming down to fight.
Cinnamon.
That's such a soft name.
No, but it's because of his red hair and his white skin. He's Mexican.
Yeah.
Well, he stands out.
All right, stay tuned. Watch Golden State and Houston tonight. You got Raptors and Sixers tomorrow. I think Milwaukee and Boston, another series they didn't get to, going down tonight as well.
Down tonight.
You got some NHL games happening, and we'll be back for a take later this week. For Kucukovic, I'm Jay Boyal. Thanks for watching In the Mix. Have a great day.